You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Great. So West Indies and India, they're playing a 5-match T20 series in the Caribbean.
Yeah, well, they're trying to. Despite the luggage issues.
Yeah, so my brother, he did the charter flight for this, and he lost all the. This is true. This is genuinely
Your brother
true.
lost all the luggage.
He lost all the kit. Yeah,
single-handedly.
Courtney Walsh still hasn't got his hat back. And in the second T20, I think there were 4 Indian players playing in an Arshdeep jersey.
Yeah,
it was. Who was that? There, Sky was. Arshdeep obviously had Avesh, maybe one of the bench players as well. I'm sure there were 4 bowling in Arshdeep jerseys. We'll do the second T20 first. It was 1-0 going into this. India were bowled out for 138. Over McCoy, Max, 6 for 17. Very, very well. His best figures in T20 cricket.
Useful.
One of the few West Indians, I think, to take 6 for. I think there are 3. Bravo, someone else. I remember it on the day, but I can't remember now. To take a 6 for. And 100, it wasn't a great pitch, but 138 is a really bad. It's a really bad T20 score.
Yeah,
isn't it? Like basically nobody could bat. I think what it was that some balls were coming through normally and some were coming through like the Gabba, or the Whacker, whichever the one that's really. What was it? The Whacker, the one in Perth.
The Whacker,
yeah, the really fast. And it was quite variable, and so you saw like Rohit bounced out basically. Shreyas Iyer, obviously the ball got above ankle height and he couldn't deal with it, so he slipped off. Then in response, West Indies, it wasn't a thumping victory. Let's put it that way. Brandon King gets 68 off 52, really does anchor things, and there's quite a vital innings in the end. As people sort of around him do okay. The hero kind of ends up being Devon Thomas, although he nearly lost the match.
Somehow.
So he, going into the last couple of overs. Last couple of overs, I think West Indies needed 15 to win. And then Arshdeep does what Arshdeep does. Just bowled this amazing death over. He gets Rothman Powell out. It's 6 off the over and a wicket. And it gives Avesh Khan just a little bit of a sniff again on a pitch, like I say, not particularly predictable. West Indies 5 and 7 in, neither of whom are great players. First ball, what does he do, Max?
He bowls a no ball.
Yeah. He bowls, actually, neither of whom are great players. Odin Smith is one of the players, and he can hit the ball for 6.
Yeah, but you have to put it in the right spot.
You do, yeah. He bowls a no ball. He's also a full toss as well, which was nearly the right spot, but instead he smashed it along the floor, back down the ground. So you think it's just 1, and then you're thinking 9 or 5 against a guy who looks like he can't hit a barn door. You're in business, and then it turns out it's a no ball, and then like it's an absolute tragedy of a follow-up ball. It's wide, it's short, like it's basically over the wide line and head height. And Devon Thomas, he looks like he's mistimed a forehand. Occasionally at Wimbledon they hit a forehand and it just goes out the stadium.
Yeah,
that is what happened. He absolutely smashed it miles. So effectively, Avesh Khan with I think 10 to defend off the last over. Blew 8 of his runs in 1 ball.
Yep.
Not great bowling at all. I think for a free hit as well. It was such a curious delivery.
I know, yeah. Do you reckon he just forgot it was a free hit? Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously, it was. We were surprised, weren't we, that Avesh Khan was bowling the final over because there was still 1 left of Bhuvi. I think you said there was 2 left of Bhuvi. Yeah. I think it was saying there might have been a little niggle.
No, I don't think so. I think Rohit, after the game, said
they were just trying it out.
They wanted to see what Avesh would be like under pressure.
Right. Yeah, I mean, again, we're talking bilateral series here, which at the end of the day don't mean a whole lot apart from, especially in the World Cup cycle, trying guys out. So I think I will say that that's perfectly reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, I think it means a heck of a lot more to the West Indies who have been on a bit of a barren run in white ball cricket. I think they've lost 9 ODIs in a row, which isn't great. So obviously, to pick up any kind of win in that sort of form is nice. They go on to the second or the third ODI, the second we'll talk about. And West Indies bat first. It's a similar-ish innings, actually, to the other one, except they're batting first. One of the openers gets 75 or 50, sort of stabilizes the innings. People bat round him. They ended on 164 though, which is not really enough.
Sunrises territory.
Yeah, it's not absolutely clear what they were trying to do. So they've got some good players. They've got Pooran, they've got Hetmeyer. Rodman Powell has had his moments, hasn't he? And Jason Holder. Like Nicholas Pooran gets 20 off 20. That's a sort of odd innings. He's batting 3 in a completely, in a sort of, I don't know. He's been spending too much time with Kane Williamson, I think, because that isn't a good innings. Then they sort of hit the panic button a little bit when he is out, or Mayers is out rather, send in Powell and Hetmeyer, but they haven't really got enough time, I don't think, to affect the game. Hetmeyer faces 12 balls, runs himself out. Powell faces 14 balls. Both of them do blast it. They hit, strike rates of 164 and 166, but it's a little bit too little, too late. I think they've got their tactics. They didn't take enough risk, is what I'm saying. Jason Holder faced 1 ball. That's a Powell, Hetmeyer, and Holder should be Pooran, Powell, Hetmeyer, and Powell, Hetmeyer, and Holder got there eventually. Should be the makings of a perfectly usable, if slightly one-dimensional, maybe middle order. I think that could be fine, but they need to work out the balance of attack. I think there, because it's just a bit strange. India chase it very, very comfortably. Rohit goes off with a back spasm. Sky gets 76 or 44, bats beautifully. Shreyas Iyer, weird innings, 24 or 27, then he's stumped. I think he's
what was the chat in the Discord? Or they're just putting him in there so they're used to what happens when Kohli comes back in.
It was a bit like that. But like Sky had sort of won the game. So Pant gets a few. Deepak Hooda gets 10 off 7. It's a pretty comfortable win.
So what do you make of Sky opening then? Because we've seen that twice now. 3 times.
I don't really know.
See what happened in the first game, but
I mean, I think this is a product of them wanting to try. I don't really understand that batting order. Full stop. Like it is a good batting order. It is full of good players, but I'm not sure Rishabh Pant is your ideal number 4. I think swapping him and Sky round might be better.
I would agree. Yeah,
is not the world's fastest starter. But if you in this scenario, let's just drill down for a second. In this scenario, what he is very good at is sort of belting spin. What's Rohit Sharma sometimes not so good at? Belting spin. That's a nice, you've got a nice spin shield there if you send Pant up the order. So Surya Kumar Yadav, to be fair, he can belt anything.
So but Surya Kumar Yadav is basically T20's world's best number 3 or 4. So
so it's a bit strange,
weird, isn't it? But
I don't really see what Shreyas is doing there. Deepak Hooda played well up the order in the IPL and against Ireland and England as well. He's batting at 6.
Yeah.
Hardik at 5 in the Gujarat Titans role. He's a good player, a good batter. Is he? Maybe would him at 6, Jadeja at 7 be better? Arguably.
Yeah, I think it probably would.
You've got the
Hardik Pandya is quite good at that Gujarat role, but so are other players.
Yeah,
Hardik Pandya is also good at batting 6 and smacking it.
Then you have to decide what you want to do with Dinesh Karthik. I think it's difficult still to have Karthik and Pant in the same team.
Yeah.
I think they'll want Pant because he's left-handed. That puts pressure on, or that means I'm not 100% sure why Karthik is there. As good an IPL as he had and as nice as his shirts are. Obviously, Jadeja, I don't know if he might be on a rest as well here. I don't remember him playing. Actually, no, I do remember him playing. He played in the second ODI.
Played in the second game.
So he
took a very good call and bold.
I keep saying ODI instead of T20, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, head scrambled.
Yeah, he wasn't playing, which maybe upsets the Feng Shui slightly. What I would say from an India point of view, these are all nice problems to have, aren't they? It's like, which one of our elite players? I think India are setting up quite well for a run at this World Cup. They could get it wrong. They could very well end up with Rohit Sharma, I reckon Rohit Sharma, Surya Kumar Yadav, Shreyas Iyer, or Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant is a top 5 that they could end up with at the World Cup, and then they get knocked out, getting 156 batting first.
Yeah.
Again,
you just hope it doesn't happen, don't you?
That could happen.
You can just see it.
I think they're pretty close to being a very good T20 side.
Yeah.
And they're already a good one, but I think they could be they could dominate for a little while if they sort out a couple of the kinks. Bowling's excellent. We haven't really even talked about that. Bowling's excellent. Any more points?
No, nothing. Nothing to elaborate on there. I think just interesting to see how the two sides continue sort of mixing things up and what we might see when it comes to World Cup time.
Cool.
West Indies will probably find out that decide that half their best players aren't fit enough and not pick them. They've already dumped Evan Lewis because he failed a fitness test while he was at Lucknow.
Yeah, there's some.
It's very strange.
There's some interesting things there.
Look for the return of Ravi Rampal.
It's a really interesting call in general, that though, isn't it? Because he's a professional sportsman. He's got to get, I think, to about 10 on the bleep test. That's the level you have to get into the police force in this country. Like, it's not. You're not being asked to be like a cross country runner here. You're being asked to be able to run like. I might even
have done that once.
It's very, very achievable. I think they call it the yo-yo test, and they have to get to 14 on the yo-yo test, but it's the equivalent as the bleep test in the UK getting to 10. Yeah. And that's what you have to do to get into the Met Police, which, look, I'm not being funny.
I've seen some policemen.
Yeah, I've seen the police. There's no way that Evan Lewis could not be fitter than some of the police in this country. So, there's that. On the other hand, he is one of their best players. So, what do you do? We had some questions. They're all sort of India-centric, so we're going to get through them now. Venom asks, if given a choice between Babur and Sky as the best T20 batsman currently, who would you pick, Max?
Sky?
Yeah, I don't think it's even a debate.
It's not even a competition, is it? Sky will score his runs at faster than 100.
Yeah, I mean, look, Babur...
Babur Azam is an unbelievable cricketer, but he takes too long in T20s. He's a ball eater.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Nooper says, alarm bells for Pant already, or will he be okay? The best wicketkeeper who blows hot and cold, or average keeper with special skills in world test in T20s in the starting 11. So who are you taking, Dinesh or Pant at this moment in time?
Well, you said it earlier. I'm taking Pant purely because he bats left-handed, and again because I think opening with Pant would be a good idea. I think it could work. But yeah, I think the utility you get from Kartik over Pant, I'm not sure it's there. I think you need Pant in there to balance the batting lineup in terms of handedness. Otherwise you basically only got him and Jadeja, haven't you? So it becomes then quite easy to negate. I'm not being funny.
Can't they just ask him to slog a bit more? Like he can hit the ball a long way. Has he got some? Is it some players are less good at some things? Is that actually a weakness that he has, or is he slightly too precious about his wicket and he could?
I don't know. He's not really precious in Test matches. So.
Well, yes, maybe it is just a weakness. That would suggest that he just can't go from ball one like some other players. I do think for India it would be a little bit of a problem. I don't think it would be terminal if their batting order was like Sharma, KL Rahul, Kohli, Sky, Hardik, 5 right-handers, and then you've got DK, another right-hander, and Jadeja is your only left-handed batsman in the top 7. It makes you a little bit one-dimensional.
Yeah.
I don't know how clever teams at the World Cup will be in terms of exploiting that. Maybe not at all, based on the last one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They're getting better at it, though, aren't they?
And Neville says, will the injuries and resting of India in probable 11th World Cup have a negative impact, as they haven't played a lot of games together before the World Cup starts?
I don't know. How much are you a buyer of sort of team cohesion in a game of T20 cricket? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I really feel it.
I think the thing you want is clear roles.
Yeah.
And I think the problem India might have is that some of the players that are going to come back into this team, or could come back into this team, will come back in with a preset role.
Yeah.
And might not, therefore, actually be the best option. Like you might take, I don't know, this is probably a bit of an extreme example. I'm not sure this is true, but you might take Deepak Hooda over Kohli. That probably is true, because Deepak Hooda is prepared to be really aggressive in the power play, and Kohli won't.
Isn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, Kohli in the power play is fine, but like in the in the middle overs, I think there are problems with how some of the Indian greats bat. I think almost all of them actually are quite one-dimensional, and some of them are going to have to bat a different way. Maybe it'll be KL Rahul who does that.
It's not necessarily
differently, but
it's not necessarily a case of them being out the side and coming back in, though, is it? There's sort of more of a not having like a
but what I mean
sort of a setup where you sort of you don't. It's not. I guess what I'm saying is that when you mix your team up, you're not still thinking about the roles, are you? That's the thing. Like take England for example. If England's mixed things up and change their players around, they will bring people in to fit the role that they want them to play, and that's why you get slightly, people who come in like, oh, I'm a bit surprised he's playing, but you think, well, he's actually trying to slot into that thing. And with India, I don't feel like you get that, do you? You just whoever's next off the rank, and then they throw them into a bowl and pick them out and see what you get.
Well, yeah, I think that's effectively the problem. Like it doesn't make sense to have some of the batting orders. I mean, I think Rohit Sharma, Shreyas Iyer, and Rishabh Pant in the top 4 is too many anchors. Like they're all of those players. Rishabh Pant can break out of it sometimes, but not always. Like he had a good IPL last year off the back of 2 or 3 relatively uninspiring ones, to be honest. That's it's not sexy, is it? They're all good players and they will all play great innings, but it's not sexy. Then you've got Sky sort of in the middle of them showing them all up.
Bring back Sanju.
And then also the other weird thing is you've got Hardik, who is like one of the greatest players of the world in that number 6 role. And sure, at Gujarat, he did something differently because he was the captain and they had a very good bowling lineup and they had a slightly different game plan. But that doesn't mean you're then like, oh, well, let's get another anchor in. Like it doesn't, it doesn't make sense that you'd pick him at number 5 and then be like, bat for 20 balls and then tee off. Like there's no, Himanish Ganji wrote a great article on this. There's no evidence that facing X number of balls means that later in your innings you will strike at a higher rate and be out less frequently. Like it's if you try and strike at 180 after you've been in for 10 balls, you're about as likely to get out as if you faced 50 balls as if you faced the 11th ball. Like you're taking that much risk and there's so much variance that's what happens. So there is actually no point in being like, Hardik, go get yourself in after those 10 balls have expired. Like up to 10 balls, your strike rate gets better, you're less likely to get out. And then after that, it all sort of depends on the type of game plan you've got. But that's what I have a problem with, is that they've got 4 players in the top order that are basically being told, one of you bat really deep and then try and tee off at the end. Because it mathematically is shown not to work.
You're just wasting balls, basically.
Yeah, you're wasting balls, you're wasting talent. Like it's Hardik Pandya should be out being a baller, not like
holding back.
Shouldn't be like India aren't Gujarat Titans. Like somebody needs to say that. Like it's all well and good.
Everyone is good in your team
for another team, but you are the player with the exceptional skill set, the person who can be different. Don't make him into another sheep for India. It doesn't help you. Anyway, the last thing we wanted to talk about, Max, was the Commonwealth Games, the women's tournament. So we know at this point in time there's a lot of games to get through. So we're not going to get through them all, but we can say where people finished. There's one game to go tomorrow that matters. It's New Zealand v England. The winner of that will play India in not the bronze medal match, the semi-final. And then the winner of that will play the loser of that, will play Australia. So it's a pretty big match. England will really want to win that. It's been quite an entertaining tournament. There's been like, there have been moments for almost all of the sides, albeit Australia are still pretty good. And England are also quite good and have brought through some younger players who, again, are looking pretty good. What have you made of it?
It's been good. I think it's been a good advert. It's been really good to get it on primetime TV, although I think a lot of it was on red button. So still a few hoops to jump through to actually watch it.
You got to give lawn bowls its moment in the sun.
Yeah,
haven't
that's
you?
true.
It's,
Yeah,
you can't, or squash.
Table tennis. Yeah, but it's good to get it in the public viewing. It's good to get it in the viewing like across the Commonwealth as well. Try and make it as an example for getting it into the Olympics. That's what I was going to say.
Yes,
but yeah, I think it's, from what I can tell, it's been a success. There's been some good games. Obviously, there's been some complete blowouts, but that's kind of what you expect. You get that in women's cricket anyway, don't you? There's quite a gulf between the top four and the rest, so that was always going to be the case. But the semi-finals and final should be a cracker. The question is always, once again, can anyone take down Australia and like fucking Talia McGrath and the lot? They're just so ridiculously good. But
she only got 14 against India, so our average is only like 70 for the tournament.
Yeah, 78 not out against Pakistan.
I look, Australia are very good, aren't they? England have got a chance. India might have a bit of a chance. So India, they did run them close, didn't they?
They did, wickets. Yeah. They almost should have won, really, shouldn't they?
Well, yeah, you say that, but then Australia are one of the teams. We said this on our Hundo preview, didn't we? That a lot of women's cricket is dominated by the best players. Australia aren't really like that. Like they have got people that can come in at 6 or 7, and be pretty good, to be honest. So it was who was it? It was Ash Gardner, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
On
Grace Harris.
Yeah,
and even Alana King. I mean, to be fair,
they're good players.
What's Alana King? Alana King batting at 9. It's like that's strong.
Yeah, it's a proper batting lineup, and a few other teams tail off a little bit, or they've got a bowler that you can get to later on. So you might have Joy, and then you've got 8 overs where you haven't really got a realistic prospect of getting a wicket. If you're playing against Australia, that is. So. Well, yeah, it should be the prelude to the semi-finals tomorrow. We'll keep an eye on that and touch upon it again. Max, I think our next show is going to be, we're going to record it on Friday morning. For now, though, I actually have some food poisoning, so I'm going to go to bed and look forward to 100 tomorrow.
Absolutely. Get better soon, Jack.
Oh, we should say this show is, as it says at the bottom, this show is presented by our friends at Manscaped.
Yes.
Max, on our last episode, you said you were going to test the goods. Have you got around to that?
Yeah, test the goods. Very impressed, have to say.
Game changer.
It is a game changer. It was it's a good bit of kit. I can recommend it. I do also really recommend the ball deodorant. It's really good. Yeah. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Everything's fresh.
Using it where the other area of your body that is very sweaty. And certainly does the job. It's also anti-chafing, says on the bottle, and I think I would agree with it. So
very smooth, walking action.
Go and buy yourself. Yeah, absolutely. I was gliding down the street. So go and get involved in some of those goodies.
20% off and free shipping with the code cricketpod at manscaped.com. Again, cricketpod at manscaped.com. All in the show notes. Cheerio.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.